Hey, happy motherfucking New Year. Woo! Ah, that was cool. Wow, I was smoking. I hope the neighbors don't call the cops, think that was a gunshot. But it's New Year's 2015, and I have to keep my cat from eating the streamers that I just shot out of that little pop bottle. Anyway, so it's New Year's 2015, and you know, what's significant about it for me, especially my age group, is we grew up with a film trilogy. If you're over 35, 36, I'm 40, I'm going on 41, called Back to the Future. And at the end of the first movie, Doc Brown came back and took Marty and his girlfriend to the future, to 2015, which is now, from 1985. And, and, you know, I didn't think 2015 was going to look exactly like that movie, but I didn't think it'd be quite like this. I mean, maybe there's, culturally, for the most part, I didn't, think, well, I thought science would be a little higher on the priority with most Americans. Apparently that's not true. Certainly. But all that aside, what we did get in 2015, or by 2015, in the mid-2000s, we were introduced to the cell phone. We got the old iPhone. This isn't an iPhone, but this is a cell phone. And these, larger tablet devices, which are pretty fucking keen. These are neat. They are neat. They used to have these things kind of on Star Trek, and they're just a really sophisticated way of, ranting about shit you don't like. So that's typically seems to be what they're used for the most part, in playing games and everything. And we got like cool video game systems and all that shit. But what we didn't get, as you can see behind me, I have a Back to the Future car, the DeLorean, the time DeLorean, and by it I have this little guy here on a hoverboard. You don't have this. This was cool. This is, it's a Lego hoverboard, but it's a hoverboard, and it's a little action figure I put on it, because I have a lot of toys and crap, obviously, to make a presentation about something silly as this. But we don't have hoverboards, probably because they're very dangerous. It seemed to work on a bit of a magnetic polarity against the Earth and the magnets that seem to be affixed under the hoverboard, and it would probably be a relatively unstable way to get around. But but skateboarding is as popular as ever. It was popular when I was growing up. It was popular, before my time. It just always grew in popularity. My nephew skateboards. It's cool skateboards. It's gotten more sophisticated. I mean, some of these skateboards are really expensive, but we don't have a hoverboard, and we don't have hover cars, for that matter, flying cars. Now I know that would be really freaking dangerous to have flying cars, and I don't think Americans could be trusted with flying cars. We can't even trust them with firearms, so I highly doubt, we'd have a lot of incidences of people, crashing their cars into people's homes from above, drunk flying. It would just, there'd have to be, DUI checkpoints in the sky. So we don't have that. But this is basically it's kind of a toy, but it's not really a toy. It's basically a model. It lights up and shit. But this was the time DeLorean, and Doc Brown converted it to fly in 2015, and they went back and got Marty, so Marty could go to the future and straighten out shit with his kid, because he was going to get in some trouble. He's going to go on the whole plot of Back to the Future and go into the basically mistakes and things that go against the rules of how time travel would work if time travel was real. there's a lot of shit they mixed up. I can't even go into it here, but this is more just me talking about stuff we don't have that was presented in Back to the Future 2, which it's interesting how different things are now. It seems that the world, I mean, that looked like a cool world, kind of, you know. It was, you know, people had power laces in Marty's shoes. He put them on and they laced themselves, and his jacket dried itself. And it was just kind of ridiculous, kind of maybe impractical type of advents and everything. I mean, television's kind of like it was. They had a screen television, I believe, in the movie. When they went home, we have flat screens, and some people have the screen that comes down with, you know, the home theater system, so it's kind of similar to that. I guess, you know, there was a scene where there was a transaction being made. Transactions can be monitored, where the future Marty gets busted making a bet with one of his old friends, and his boss fires him, or something like that. He did something, and so people can monitor all of your activities because of the internet and everything online. They want to, so that's one advent that's kind of parallels Back to the Future. But there's a lot of bad. I mean, the one thing with Back to the Future 2 I have to mention is funny, because in the movie, of course, you know, Marty gets the sports almanac to make bets when he goes back to 1985, and Doc Brown tells him, no, you can't do that, you can't use it for personal gain, yada yada yada. I mean, if you didn't want to meddle with time, you should have made a time machine in the first place. So old Biff gets his mitts on it, travels back to 1955 to give his younger self this almanac. And the thing of it is, first off, Biff doesn't know the first thing about operating this fucking time machine. The old Biff, he was a fucking idiot when he was a kid. So he just, you know, he just overhears Marty and Doc talking about it when they throw the sports almanac away, and he goes, oh, so old Doc Brown built a time machine. Well, that's logistical. I'm just gonna. So he goes to steal while they're going to Marty McFly's future home, and Doc and him, Marty, are trying to straighten some shit out there. Biff just steals it. Like, for fuck's sakes, I mean, put a damn security system on your time machine. You know, I mean, freaking car alarm, something. I mean, you just can't just get into it, so it's not just some thing you can just get into and take it. So, Biff goes back in time, then he returns, and the future is still the same way, it seems. I mean, Biff isn't a rich, you know, Larry Flint, whatever, casino-owning dirtbag. Not that, well, like, Larry Flint's not the best. Whatever. That's what I'm comparing him to. He's just kind of a scumbag. So, Biff comes back, then Marty and Doc, long story short, they get in the time machine, go back to 1985, where it's hell. And Biff rules, and he's turned the whole Hill Valley into Vegas. And it doesn't make any sense, because the 2015 that he came back to should have been different. And it wasn't. It was the same 2015 that old Biff left when old Biff returned with the Time DeLorean. I mean, and fucking Doc, I mean, didn't he have like a thing, like some, you know, device, like a watch or something? I mean, if anybody was trying to fucking tamper with it or use it without his authorization, isn't there a code you punch in? It's just, you know, like a palm print or you know, like an ocular scan or something. Just, oh, does anybody go in like, derp, 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 I want to go kill Jesus, you know, and he fucking just does it. I mean, it's stupid. So, yeah, there's a lot of time. There's a lot of disparities in, I mean, it's a movie. I mean, the first one, Marty's family is slowly fading away, but they're not just all at once being eliminated because his parents didn't meet, because that's what would happen. You'd just be, boom, they didn't meet. I mean, you wouldn't have like a week or something to get it together while your brother and sister fade away in an old photograph. And the photograph itself would have never been taken, because who took the damn photograph of just a tree and like a well they were standing next to? I mean, you wouldn't even taken the damn picture in the first place. So that it would just be gone instantaneously, you know, because his parents didn't meet, because Marty fucked it up. Or I forgot, I don't know how he fell out of the tree. Well, no, he fell out of the tree, pushed George out of the way, and Leah Thompson's, Lorraine's dad hit Marty with the car, and really the movie, I mean, it even goes into the realm of incest, because, you know, Lorraine wants to kind of has the hots for his son. But we were innocent kids back then when we watched it. Didn't even occur to us. It was like, whoa, we just kind of like went with it, you know? It was a good movie. I mean, it's still a good movie. I mean, but there's just like crazy, I mean, for the sake of the plot of the film, they couldn't follow the essential rules of time travel. They broke all of them. Didn't make a lick of sense. And there's probably another one too, where after Doc gets hit by lightning when he's in the DeLorean when he's flying in the DeLorean above Marty, gets hit by lightning, goes back to the 1800s. He leaves the DeLorean in an abandoned mine. And then they take that DeLorean, which has been sitting in a mine for like, what, 80 fucking years? You think that car would be in any... would it even remotely... I mean, everything would have, you know... I mean, DeLoreans are stainless steel, but I mean, the engine, I mean, you couldn't possibly fucking get that thing running again after 80 years sitting somewhere. Maybe you could, I don't know. I mean, the tires rotted off, so they put those dopey fucking tires on it. And, I mean, it looked like shit. And then he used some crazy kind of components from the 50s to compensate for the damaged time circuits. So they had this crazy thing strapped to the hood with like vacuum tubes and like crap. And he's just like, okay, I'm just gonna... And Doc's just fucking cool with it. Hey, I'm just gonna send you, because they found out that he got killed. He got killed back in the 1800s. Well, he would have been dead anyway. Who gives a shit? You know? You got 1955, Doc. That's where he winds up. He wouldn't... Look, he was a young man. He got the time travel. He got to go back to the Old West. You know, why should Marty risk his ass going all the way back to the fucking 1800s to get his ass home? He should just go the fuck back home. You know, I mean, he burned the sports almanac. He didn't need to go back to the 1800s. And, you know, it's fucking ridiculous. And the thing of it is, at the end of the movie, okay, Marty's running to the 1955 Doc Brown, who's unaware that he's there. He is. He's unaware that he's there. He's doing the thing with the hook and the you know, lightning bolt hitting the clock tower, and the hook has to meet the wire, which was a ridiculous fucking thing, so you get 1.21 gigawatts of electricity. So he's running. I mean, if he had gotten there a little bit sooner, he could have gotten that DeLorean, which was in a lot better shape than the one that's been sitting in the fucking mine. And you'd have two Martys, and maybe you'd have a better shot going back and getting Doc. Or maybe one of the Martys could go, I don't fucking know what to do. Well, both of the Martys get in the time machine and go to the future. Go back home. One stays there. The other Marty, if them seeing each other doesn't like tear a hole in the universe and just, you know, everything just unravels time and space. So... Go back to 85 in the DeLorean that's still in pretty good shape. Okay, fuck that one in the mine. That thing's fucked up. You take that DeLorean after you drop off one of the Martys, and the other Marty would have to be the Marty that already went through Back to the Future 2 and that shit. Okay, the Marty from the first movie just have to stay home. Like, hey man, just fucking wait it out. I gotta go take care of some shit. Goes back in time and gets Doc. I think that's how I would have gone. I was going to go, because I'm not fucking going back in time in some 80-year-old DeLorean with shitty 1950s tires on it, old time circuits, and then just going to the bumpy Wild West, and the fuel line busted. Well, he did do it. You know, you just can't. It's ridiculous. But I guess that's how I would have done it. If it was a reality of some kind, I wouldn't have gone and, you know, it's so fucking, this is the stupidest thing I've ever talked about. But it's true. Why you wouldn't, it's ridiculous. So it's 2015 in summarization, and the things that were in Back to the Future Part 2, which is when he went to the future in 2015, haven't really been realized. I mean, we have holograms. I mean, there was a hologram of like the Jaws movie, which was neat. But we don't have flying cars. I mean, the technology exists to have flying cars, but they don't trust us with flying cars because Americans are fucking dumb and crazy, I guess. But here's hoping that 2015 is an awesome year and humanity makes great strides and it doesn't suck for me and my fiance like it has the past couple of years. So, Happy New Year's, and I hope you're having a good New Year, whoever watches this video. And if you liked it, subscribe if you feel like it. Just subscribe to my channel.